Hello and welcome to Rajya Sabha Television. I am Vishal Dahiya and you're watching our special show India Fights Back, wherein we bring you all aspects of India's fight against COVID-19 pandemic. And we've reached a stage where now the vaccination campaign will begin on 16th of January. All preparations have been done. In fact, the vaccines have also flown over from Pune to Delhi, the first batch, which will then further on be distributed. Today, in fact, we're going to talk about in this particular show how India is all poised, all set to become the global COVID vaccine hub. And that is not only because of our vaccine manufacturing capabilities, but also because of the Made in India vaccine, several vaccine candidates which are being developed in India and, are likely to get clearances from the regulator in the weeks or months to come as well. And for more on this, we're joined by a distinguished panel of guests. Let me first introduce them to you, beginning with Dr. Samiran Panda, Scientist G and Head of the ECD Division in ICMR is joining us. We also have with us Dr. Rakesh Mishra, Director of the Center of Cellular and Molecular Biology, CCMB. We also have Dr. N.K. Ganguly, former Director General of the Indian Council of Medical Research. Welcome all of you gentlemen to Rajya Sabha Television. Let me begin with you, Dr. Panda, and let's start by taking an overview of not only our own vaccination campaign, but also our capabilities, our indigenous capabilities in manufacturing vaccines and developing them as well.
All right. This is a very great moment of pride for India, because India is talking about vaccines not only developed, produced through technology transfer from other countries, but also about its own capability in order to be able to produce the indigenous vaccine, which is Covaxin. We now know that through the Indian Council of Medical Research and Bharat Biotech collaboration, we have a whole variant killed or inactivated vaccine named Covaxin. So that's about the indigenous capability which we have seen. And this particular vaccine has gone through the preclinical animal studies, which involved small animals like rabbits, mice, and hamsters, which was followed by non-human primates, rhesus monkeys. Why am I mentioning about these animal studies? They only produced results which moved this vaccine to the clinical trials involving humans. And the remarkable results in terms of safety and toxicity that actually said that it's quite useful and wise to move to the clinical phase. Now, the phase 1 clinical trial with Covaxin again underlined the safety of this vaccine. And then phase 2, in addition to generating safety data, looked into immunogenicity. Phase 1 and phase 2 taken together helped this vaccine to move to phase 3 trial involving more than 22,000 trial participants. So that's the time we are in. In the meantime, the Drug Controller General of India, the ultimate or utmost regulatory authority and the agency, CDSCO, that decides what happens with the vaccines in a particular situation, took into cognizance all the scientific evidence and provided with the emergency use authorization for not only Covaxin, but also Covishield. And that was done, again, keeping the pandemic situation into account, the scientific evidence which was available. And that was also remarkable. Why, I would say? Because it's an extraordinary time, which demands extraordinary response. So in addition to the vaccine manufacturers and the scientists from ICMR development of the vaccine, there was a necessity of extraordinary regulatory response. And that happened when this emergency use authorization came into being. And this actually was possible because of the new drugs and clinical trial rules dated 19th March 2019, which allowed the Drug Controller General of India to take into account the phase 2 clinical trial information. So it's not the scenario where business could go as usual. It's a pandemic time, and that's why India stands out in all these aspects and really taking its own indigenous vaccine further forward.
Okay. That's quite an interesting, sum up of how we have traveled so far as vaccine development is concerned in India. Let me bring in Dr. N.K. Ganguly here as well. Dr. Ganguly, from your perspective, the indigenous capabilities, as I was saying earlier, of not only manufacturing vaccines, but also developing them. And one more example apart from Covaxin here is the mRNA vaccine candidate, which is undergoing trials.
Actually, Vishal, at one time there were 36 vaccine companies in the world. And since the vaccine prices dropped drastically, 30 of them went out of the operation. Only 6 major vaccine companies in the world stood. India filled up that vacuum and provided, particularly the developing part of the world, the essential vaccines. So if we really look at the moment, 80% to 90% of the whole measles vaccine of the world is supplied by India. India supplies all the rubella vaccines to South America. The indigenous meningococcal vaccine, which was the development of India, is supplied to entire sub-Saharan Africa. African meningitis was stopped by the Indian manufacturing. The same way rotavirus vaccine from India, which is also indigenous manufacturing, is going to 16 countries in the world. And what is happening now, that there are some very novel vaccines which are coming up. Like world's first subunit rabies vaccine has been cleared by the controller of India in India, and it is also being done by an Indian company. So this is India's vaccine capability. Majority of the vaccines which India exports are WHO pre-qualified. So same thing happened in the COVID vaccine arena. Many of the international vaccine manufacturers looked at the vaccine manufacturing capability of India. The plants are large and you can scale it up very quickly. And exactly that has happened. Oxford-AstraZeneca came to Serum Institute. Novavax came to the Serum Institute in the Czechoslovakian program. The Johnson & Johnson came to Biologic E. The Sputnik came to Russia, came to Reddy's lab. And another vaccine known as Covax, which is an American protein adjuvanted company, came to Aurobindo. So there are a huge number of vaccines which will follow now. The first vaccine, of course, is the Serum Institute vaccine with about 50 lakhs doses, as you have said, have flown to different places. But there will be other vaccines which will be coming up. Some pure Indian manufacturing like Genova, like Bharat Biotech, like Zydus Cadila. There will be several vaccines which will be indigenous Indian efforts, but there will be many vaccines which will be coming from abroad and will be manufactured in India, and bridging studies will be done in India. This is also very, very important, that some of the vaccines which we are using will go through global experiences. It is very important that vaccines go through global experiences and go through global regulatory inspection so that you get much more confident in those vaccines. Finally, I will like to say that India is also at the moment for the COVID, because very few countries are doing now using COVID vaccine, and there is a world shortage of that. So India has booked many neighbors, like at this given moment, all our neighbors, whether Bangladesh, Nepal, Myanmar, and many others, even Brazil, have booked in India. So India is pre-booked, and the vaccines will now flow out. India at the moment will get all the vaccine it required, but vaccines will flow out of India to different part of the countries. At least 18 countries have booked their vaccines with Indian manufacturers. Some of the vaccines will be very good, like Johnson & Johnson's vaccine will be a single shot vaccine. It will be there by end February or March with us. So we will have a choice, and by June, Indian vaccine will enter the private market also.
Okay.
So So you will be able to buy it. It will cost. You will have to pay. But if you want to get the vaccine, you will get the vaccine. I would like to make a last comment that India has somehow or other learned from the vaccine supply chain distribution as well as administration. It is very important that vaccine goes through the people's arm. Everywhere, whether UK, USA, they were struggling with this. USA till today has only given 7 million people. India has learned from all of those. I was impressed by how the vaccine flew and was distributed to all the hubs which India wanted within a day. This was impressive, very, very impressive.
Okay.
And the way we have trained and others, and the way we have planned, we will be able to get 50.6 million doses right on the first day of the vaccination. Thank you.
Okay, that's quite indeed an achievement there. The last point you made, Dr. Ganguly, in terms of the supply chain management, and that's really crucial as well, as we've seen and understood from experience of other countries like UK and United States, where the Pfizer and Moderna vaccine is being given to the people out there. Let me also bring in Dr. Rakesh Mishra. Dr. Mishra, your viewpoint as far as this aspect of India emerging as a global leader in this particular crisis, when you talk about the vaccine, the most crucial aspect of COVID pandemic, and therein India is all set to play a very important role. The background very nicely explained by Dr. Ganguly there, how we have done it over the years in terms of other vaccines as well. But when it comes to COVID vaccine, it's not only manufacturing, but it's also developing indigenous vaccines.
Yeah. Right. So you already heard Dr. Panda and Dr. Ganguly explaining our capacity and how in detail how our indigenous vaccine has passed multiple tests of safety and immunogenicity, and how we have come in such a short period of time. I mean, this is a scientific marvel that within a year of the disease, we are already rolling out the vaccines. It never happened before. So it all credit goes to various companies who came forward, government labs, and the regulatory authorities who take such a extensive review. Remember, we have one of the best regulatory system for such things in the country, and safety is so important to put. I think so that India is a world capital of vaccine is established already. What I find more exciting now is that India is going to teach the world how to administer vaccine at a large scale. You have heard in the UK or in the US, there's lots of confusion because they have not done such thing at this scale. We are running already the world's largest vaccination program already, and we are going to scale that up in multifold because now adults have need to be included in that. There are challenges about that. But as you have seen for some past couple of weeks, dry runs have been done, and it's a very smart move that first, for multiple reasons, that first you vaccinate the healthcare workers. So A, they need that because they are in the front line, and B, they are the most informed people, so there will be less of confusion and rumors and those sorts of problems where they are well educated about the medical systems, so vaccine. And this also gives a good chance for those who are administering vaccine real-time practice of real vaccines. Is not just simple dry run, and less of a confusion at vaccination centers. And then will of course be the frontline workers, another 2 crore who are again well informed and more reasonable in terms of accepting, because they need this protection when they are in the front line. So I think by the time we finish this 3 crore target, will have the sufficient experience, pipeline set, companies in place, and experience at the various vaccination centers at the district level. So I think we are very well planned, and hopefully this thing will just take off without much of confusion.
Okay.
And we are used to doing things at large scale. I mean, look at the election that we do such an ease. Many other even advanced countries, they mess up the election and, and they keep talking about it for some time, while we do it in such a smooth way with such a large country where approach and those things are not that convenient. So I think we are going to set up, I'll just add another last point in this, that one more thing which I'm really excited is that we are going to digitize all the data electronically, follow up the people. It has never happened at this scale in India or anywhere else. People's healthcare, their situation of health is followed up for a long period of time. We need that because we are entering into the era of personalized medicine gradually. Our genomics activities are very strong. They are providing the background information for all this. So I think that is going to put a system in place where we can follow up people, because these vaccines need very close follow-up and their effects, and so that we can do course corrections and improvements in future.
Definitely.
So something very challenging, and we have system in place. We are one of the strongest IT system in the world. So I think everything is well placed from all aspects, and I think from 16th it all begins.
Okay, definitely. We are well versed at doing things at a larger scale, as Dr. Mishra was pointing out. Dr. Panda, would you agree to this particular aspect, as both Dr. Ganguly and Dr. Mishra are pointing out, that it's not only about us being the leader in manufacturing vaccines or even developing them, but also now we're showing the world how to roll out or how to manage the supply chain there. That's really a very crucial, important part, specifically in pandemic times like the ones which we're facing right now.
Absolutely. Vaccine does not prevent infection. Vaccination does. So there lies the crux. And I echo the sentiment of Dr. Ganguly and Dr. Mishra by saying that why India is able to play the role of a leader. A leader is a great leader when that leader serves. So India never had this vaccine nationalism. I was a member of the team that visited Bangladesh. There was tremendous interest. Myanmar came and visited us. And actually, India believes in this Sanskrit saying, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which is the whole world is our family and neighbors. So India, apart from producing the quality vaccine within affordable price, will do so not only for the Indians, but also for the rest of the country. That's number one. Number two, vaccination in terms of how do we get to the people. And Dr. Ganguly said something which is very important. India does public health where public or people are present, not necessarily looking into where the business or the money is. Because the vaccination, the whole game of it, and vaccine production is not the most lucrative business. So many companies have gone out of this. But India has always ensured that it produces not only good quality vaccine within affordable price, but has also looked into the availability of it for not only Indians, but also people outside, echoing that sentiment from Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Thirdly, a very smart combination of fantastic election conducting or the polling mechanism that we have. Here the difference is the classical or the known robust immunization program that India runs and is well known to the country for that. And that has also impacted upon the reduced under 5 mortality in children. That is now well documented, which all underlines or highlights the efficiency of the immunization program and the vaccination program. But here the difference is the vaccine is going to be given to the adults.
Okay.
So when we vaccinate children, we do talk with the parents of the children. Of course, children are told that, oh, don't worry, you won't be pained and all this, but the communication there is indirect. So through the parents, the children are reached out. But here in this COVID-19 vaccination, it's communication between adults. So there again, a very detailed discussion has taken place. And it's not only the district immunization officer and the 4 levels of vaccination officers, but also the community-based organizations which have been roped in so that any myths or misconceptions around vaccination get dispelled, number one. Number two, vaccine hesitancy, whatever that is existing, can be addressed, and readiness for accepting the vaccine increases. So it's not just one vaccine which is produced and is made available, but also the other machinery in terms of adverse event monitoring and adverse event following immunization. We call it AEFI, adverse event following immunization, that getting recorded in the software which is called CoWIN or CoWIN, and then the engagement with the community-based organizations.
Okay.
All of these are acting hand in hand to make vaccination a success.
Okay, definitely. That indeed explains how India is playing the role of a leader there, specifically if you look at, by example, by showing the world how it is to be done. Let's take quick concluding comments from both Dr. Ganguly and Dr. Mishra as well. Dr. Ganguly, you first, please.
So Vishal, our work has actually started now, because all vaccines around the world at the moment is under emergency authorization. So, and these have been cleared before we cleared it in the past, that we never cleared it before 6 months of follow-up.
Okay.
But we cleared it after 2 months of follow-up. So what we need to do now is follow up, following up in larger population, looking at immunogenicity, how long it stays, and how the cell-mediated immune response or T-cell immune response are developing,
Okay.
and how they protect. If we get a protect correlation, 30 vaccines are being developed in India by the research organization like Rakesh's and other organizations. We will be able to get into the endpoint through the laboratory test rather than efficacy test. So this is important. One last point I would like to make, that we need to learn from people. Like America got stalled because they started to store the second dose also. So all their storage got blocked. So we should flow our vaccine to the points, and it is not important that you get it only just after 28 days. If it becomes 30 days, it is okay. Or even if it is delayed by 1 week, it is okay. So we need to learn that. We also need to learn, because I'm sure you are short of time. I will come back again someday. We should also like to learn that whether we could switch vaccines. These are different platforms, and we need to learn by small subset studies that if we could switch vaccines, life will become easier. So finally, what I will say, that we should have the data groups, which can, and Samiran is very good in that they should be able to analyze the subset of the data in the population which emerges because of our vaccination drive. We have never done adult vaccination before. This is the first attempt to entire population adult vaccination. There will be a lot of learning lessons out of it, and I will urge that everybody learns, and also I will urge that nobody should fear the vaccines. They should take the vaccine.
Okay, definitely. That's a sane advice out there coming in from the experts, that take the vaccine, and there are going to be several challenges. Dr. Mishra, quick concluding comments from you as well, sir, before we wrap this up.
So I think you have got the really good brief from Dr. Ganguly, that how we should approach the post-vaccination follow-up. These are emergency usage approvals, and there will be many adjustments and course correction that will come. We have new platforms of vaccine, mRNA vaccine. India's Geneva is making some fantastic approach of a very, very efficient vaccine system. So many things will come. And as we follow up, remember, this is a nasty virus which can change its situation rapidly. We have to keep a close eye on if there is any vaccine-resistant variant appearing. So far, the new variants are manageable. But we have to keep very close eye of following how virus is changing and how vaccine response is there, and keep entertaining the new candidates, new platforms, and new variations of the vaccines. I think we have to have this multi-pronged approach. Then only we are going to defeat this pandemic. And the last point, I will just add that please remember that how long protection we'll have from these vaccines and yet to be seen. And even you start vaccination from 16th, it will take 40 days, 45 days for full effect to come in. So that means the existing vaccination, which is social vaccination of mask, physical distancing and hygiene must be followed. It is not that vaccine you saw the box and the virus has gone. As Dr. Panda said, is vaccination, and even after vaccination, the effect has to be seen. Remember, 20-30% people might not respond. That is the fact of the life. So we have to do multiple things, educating people, following the vaccination, following the virus, and putting everything together with the database that will be generated, and refining our strategy.
Okay.
We will see the other side of this difficult period.
Okay, definitely there it is. Thank you so much, Dr. Rakesh Mishra, Dr. M.K. Ganguly, as well as Dr. Samiran Panda for sharing your valuable inputs, not only on how the vaccination drive is going to go ahead and what are the key aspects which need to be kept in mind, but also the fact that India has now emerged as a global COVID vaccine hub, and India has done so by being in the leadership position, by showing how it is done, not only by manufacturing or developing vaccines, but also ensuring how it is transported, how the entire vaccination drive has to be done, and the follow-ups also, as our experts were pointing out. One more aspect before we go, however, though the vaccine is here, and the vaccination drive will begin on 16th of January for the frontline workers, but please do not forget about the COVID appropriate behavior. Simple 3-step process. Ensure that you wear your mask properly. Also ensure that you wash your hands regularly. Hand hygiene is really, really important. And do not forget to follow the rule of physical distancing of 6 feet. This 3 simple step process will keep you and your near and dear ones safe and healthy. Thank you for watching Rajya Sabha Television.